Big news hit the NBA world as the Atlanta Hawks pulled off a bold move acquiring Kristaps Porziscus in a three-team trade involving the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. Now let's be real, Boston didn't make this trade for basketball reasons. Their main motivation was financial. They just wanted to dip below that second tax apron. All they walked away with was a second-round pick in Georgia's NIC, which tells you everything about their intentions. But the spotlight that's firmly on Atlanta and their gamble on Porziscus. This isn't just a minor shuffle on the roster. This is a franchise taking a legitimate swing on a high-risk, high-reward player who, when healthy, has the ability to tilt the floor in your favor. Porziscus is a unicorn, a legit 7-footer with perimeter skills, shot-blocking ability, and a touch from deep that very few big men possess. And it's a big but his health is always the elephant in the room. The guy averages around 40 games a season. That's half the year, and in today's NBA, that kind of availability is a tough pill to swallow. If you're trying to build consistent chemistry and rhythm throughout a grueling 80-game season, and that's exactly why some of the rumored teams like the Lakers, the Spurs, and the Warriors hesitated. They all had interest, sure, the upside is clear as day. But when you're trying to win now, or in the Lakers' case trying to squeeze the last drop of championship contention out of LeBron James' legendary career, you can't afford to roll the dice on a player who might not be there come playoff time. Imagine banking on a stretch five to space the floor and protect the rim only for him to go down right when the postseason pressure cranks up. That's a nightmare scenario. Now Atlanta, on the other hand, totally different position. This is a young team not expected to contend for a title this year. They've got time, they've got youth, and they've got flexibility. This is why this move actually makes a ton of sense for them. If Porziscus pans out, if he gives you 50 to 60 games and is available when it counts, you've got a game changer. If not, no sweat. Most of their core is 23 or younger. They can move on, reset, and keep building. But now that Porziscus is in Atlanta, the question becomes what happens with Onyeka Okongwu. That's where things get interesting. Do the Hawks plan on starting both Porziscus and Okongwu? Are they looking at a twin tower setup? Or is Okongwu now potentially on the move? Because let's not forget, the Lakers were actively trying to trade for Okongwu at the last deadline. They reportedly offered the same package. They pitched for Mark Williams, Dalton necked a first-round pick and some add-ins, like a potential pick swap. The Hornets bid on that deal for Williams, but the Lakers were clearly high on Okongwu too. And from Atlanta's perspective, it's not a terrible idea to hang onto him. Okongwu has been growing steadily, showing flashes of two-way potential, improving his offensive game and holding his own on defense. Even if he's coming off the bench, you could argue he's still going to start a good chunk of games. Because let's face it, Porziscus is not playing all 82. So keeping Okongwu might be smart insurance, and with Clint Capela on the way out, yeah, that's pretty much a lock. It opens the door for Onyeka to get solid minutes, even if he isn't technically the starter. There's also the idea of running them together. Porziscus can stretch the floor, which theoretically gives you room to play Okongwu at the 5 and Porziscus at the 4, but then you're juggling other pieces like Jalen Johnson and maybe even Saddiq Bey when he's healthy. What does the starting 5 even look like now? Trae Young's locked in at the 1. Maybe Dyson Daniels slots in as a 2 or 3. Johnson probably earns a starting role, and then what, Porziscus and Okongwu together in the front court? Or do you bring one of them off the bench? My guess is that Porziscus starts. You don't trade for him to have him coming off the pine. That means Okongwu either shifts into a backup role or gets shipped out. But again, Okongwu's contract isn't breaking the bank. He's set to make around $15 million this season, then jumps to 16 and change the next 2 years. That's reasonable money for a high-level rotation big. If he were making $25 to $30 million, we'd be having a different conversation. But at his current number, you can justify keeping him in a sixth-man role, especially with how valuable he's been defensively and the strides he's taken as a finisher around the rim. Let's not forget Okongwu just turned 24 and had his most complete season last year. 74 games played, 40 starts, 28 minutes a night. He averaged nearly 14 points, 9 rebounds, over 2 assists, a block, and a steal per game. He shot nearly 57% from the field and even started taking a few threes, connecting at a respectable 32% clip on limited attempts. That might not sound like much, but for a guy who was previously seen as a traditional rim-running big, it's a sign of offensive evolution. If you stretch those numbers out to per 36 minutes, you're looking at 17 points, 12 boards, 3 assists, a steal and a half, and a block and a half. That's starter-level production. So if the Lakers, or any team for that matter, are looking at him as a potential long-term anchor at the 5, You can understand why they'd be willing to give up serious assets. Now, what would it take for LA to land him the same package? They tried for Mark Williams, Dalton, necked a first, maybe a pick swap, and someone like Gabe Vincent. To make the salaries match, that might be enough. Okongwu isn't on a max deal, so you're not gutting your cap sheet. And the Lakers, for all their issues, are still a few key pieces away from being right back in the thick of things. They need a starting center who fits the modern mold: athletic, mobile rim protector, lob threat, can guard in space. That's Okongwu in a nutshell. Plus, the Lakers have an owner willing to spend. They've got a timeline with Anthony Davis in his prime, and potentially a couple more years of LeBron. Adding a young ascending center under team control for 3 more years, that's the kind of move that can stabilize your front court for the next decade. And again, we're not talking about a gamble with no upside. Okongwu had games last season where he went off, a 30.4 block game, a 28-12 performance late in the year. He's not just a hustle guy. He's got real skills, real potential. And if that three-point shot continues to develop even at a modest pace, he becomes an even bigger asset in today's spacing offset NBA. That's why the Hawks are in a bit of a bind. They've got a logjam, but it's not a bad one to have. Porziscus brings star potential but comes with risk. Okongwu brings youth, reliability, and defensive versatility. Atlanta might hold on to both and see how the season unfolds. Or they might cash in on Okongwu's rising value and try to address other needs. Either way, it's a storyline to watch closely. If you're a Lakers fan, this is the kind of move you want the front office to be exploring. Don't overpay just to make a move, but if the fit is right and the player makes sense long-term, you pull the trigger. Okongwu checks a lot of those boxes. Young, productive, under contract, and growing. That's how you build a sustainable roster, not just around stars, but with pieces that complement them and give you flexibility for years to come. Now the ball is in Atlanta's court. Do they keep both bigs and figure it out, or does Okongwu become the next name on the trade block? Either way, the Kristaps Porziscus era in Atlanta is officially underway, and it's already shaking things up in a big way. And speaking of things shaking up, the ripple effects of this trade don't stop with Atlanta or Los Angeles. You've got other teams quietly watching this situation unfold, because a player like Okongwu hitting the trade market doesn't happen every day. He's in that sweet spot, young enough to still grow, experienced enough to produce, and cheap enough to not wreck your salary cap. That's gold in today's NBA. So you can bet front offices across the league are calling Atlanta, asking what it would take to pry him loose. Now, from the Lakers' point of view, this might be one of those rare winnow and build forth a future type moves. Sure, you're giving up draft capital, but you're not sending out the farm, and in return, you're potentially locking in your starting center for the next 5 to 10 years. That's huge, especially when you look at the roster as it stands today outside of Anthony Davis. They don't have a long-term solution at the 5. Okongwu gives you that, and he does it without needing the ball in his hands. He's a perfect complement to guys like LeBron, AD, and even Austin Reeves. If you see him as a long-term piece, there's also the health angle. While Porziscus is the big name and has more flash, Okongwu is the one who gives you peace of mind. He's durable, he brings energy every night, and he doesn't shy away from contact. In fact, one of the underrated parts of his game is how physical he can be. Despite not being a true 7-footer, he's 6 foot and about 240, but he plays bigger than that. He's strong, mobile, and has great timing as a shot blocker. You put him on a playoff team and he becomes one of those guys. That makes all the difference in a close series. He's not the headline, but he's the reason you win Game 6 on the road. And for Atlanta, holding onto him might make more sense than trading him, at least right now. They're not paying him like a star, and they don't have to make that decision for a couple more years. But they're also building something new, trying to find the right balance between Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, and now Porziscus. If they feel like they can flip Okongwu for a piece that fits better positionally or brings more shooting, they might be tempted. But giving up a guy who just played 74 games, gave you almost a double-double, and anchored the defense, that's not an easy call. It's also worth mentioning that Okongwu has that attitude you want in a locker room. He's not flashy on social media, not out there trying to get attention. He just goes out, does his job, and competes. That kind of mindset fits perfectly in a system like Darvin Ham's, where defensive effort and versatility are priorities. If the Lakers really want to reestablish themselves as a gritty, defensive-minded team, Okongwu could be the anchor that makes it all work. All that said, the next few weeks are going to be critical. Free agency's coming. The draft is in the rear view. Teams are shaping their final rosters, and moves like this could be the difference. between a team making the play-in or pushing for the top 4 in their conference. The Hawks made the first bold move. Now it's up to the rest of the league to respond. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, whispers are growing louder around the NBA world as rumors suggest the Los Angeles Lakers are on the verge of making a splash in the trade and signing market. The buzz: the Lakers could be bringing in Nick Claxton, the Brooklyn Nets' towering big man, to reinforce their front court and ignite some serious posterizing action at the Staples Center. While nothing is official yet, insiders hint that negotiations are heating up and Claxton's arrival could be just around the corner. Claxton, known for his athleticism and rim-protecting prowess, fits the mold of what the Lakers have been craving. A dominant presence in the paint who can both intimidate opponents defensively and finish thunderous dunks offensively. His ability to alter shots and clean the glass would provide Los Angeles with much-needed depth behind their star-studded lineup, giving LeBron James and Anthony Davis some serious backup in the post. The Lakers' front court has been a point of concern, especially when Davis faces injuries or foul trouble. Rumors suggest that adding Claxton might be a strategic move to shore up the team's interior defense while adding a player who thrives on highlight reel plays. Known for electrifying crowds with explosive dunks and blocks, Claxton's style meshes perfectly with the Lakers' need for excitement and toughness down low. Brooklyn's big man has steadily improved his game over recent seasons, showcasing a more refined offensive touch while maintaining his reputation as a defensive anchor. His presence could significantly shift the Lakers' dynamics, especially in tight playoff games where every possession counts. If the Lakers seal the deal, it would be a statement that they're not just aiming for a playoff berth, they're gunning for championship glory. Of course, there's still a cloud of uncertainty. Brooklyn might be reluctant to part ways with Claxton, who has become a key piece in their rebuilding puzzle. Plus, salary cap considerations and potential trade packages could complicate things. But sources close to the Lakers organization remain optimistic, suggesting the team's front office is pulling out all the stops to get this deal done. Fans have already started speculating about the highlight dunks and defensive stops Claxton could bring, fueling excitement for the next NBA season. Imagine the poster moments when Claxton throws down emphatic slams on fast breaks or swats away shots with authority. These plays could electrify the Staples Center crowd and breathe new life into a team hungry for playoff success. While the Lakers have yet to confirm anything officially, the rumor mill is buzzing, and all eyes will be on the franchise in the coming days. Could Nick Claxton be the missing piece that propels the Lakers back to the NBA's elite? Only time will tell, but the possibility alone has already set fans and analysts buzzing with anticipation. The Lakers might just be on the brink of a game-changing move that could define their season and perhaps rewrite the story of their quest for another championship banner. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.